and we're here today to talk about some of the measures and the protocols that we've put in place to keep our employees and our customers safe during the pandemic. So I just wanted to start off with a little bit of history before I hand this over to Angela. The World Health Organization declared the coronavirus a pandemic on March 11th, and that started a series of events. Multiple school systems shut down, um, and also restaurants and businesses and Southern Company employees were also impacted and asked to work from home if that was feasible. And we did a lot of work as a company to keep our employees safe and to really, dig in and do what we needed to do in order to keep our employees and our customers safe. So on March 12th, so the very next day, many of us were asked or directed to perform their work responsibilities remotely until further notice, and we're still doing that today. Employee gatherings, meetings were canceled around the Nicor gas footprint, and there was restricted access to our buildings. The impact was really felt throughout the Nicor gas service territory. But because we are essential employees, there was still work that we needed to perform. And Angela's going to kind of talk about our field response and then how we interact with our customers when we need to go into a customer's home. So specifically, our COVID-19 protocols and how we're keeping our employees and our customers safe. Angela, I'm going to give it to you.
Thank you, Karen. So as Karen had mentioned, I'd like to talk about how we responded to this pandemic. And before I do, I would like to start out by saying that at Nicor, safety is our number one shared value. And since we are an essential business, as Karen mentioned, we continue to provide the same safe and reliable service to our customers 24/7, despite COVID-19. So we have taken a variety of steps to ensure our employees are taking every precaution necessary while on the job and also entering our customers' homes to protect not only themselves, but also our customers. So one of the first things that we did, of many, was to assess the personal protective equipment, or otherwise known as PPE. You will hear it referred to throughout the rest of my presentation. So first, what we did was to assess the PPE that our employees were using. And we wanted to make sure that we provided them with even more. For example, every field employee was provided with a protective kit to be used when entering our customers' homes. This kit included a full body Tyvek suit, gloves, booties, goggles, and a face shield. There was also a protocol that went along with putting this kit on and also properly taking this kit off and disposing of it properly. In addition, all field employees as well as management employees were provided with an abundance of hand sanitizer and or soap. Another thing that we did is that our safety department joined efforts with our field operations support department to create a COVID-19 job aid. And I think it's important to mention that this was a living document. So as conditions were changing every single day, so was this document. It was updated daily and it was dispersed every night, every morning to all of the Nicor Gas employees in an effort to make sure that everyone was aware of the latest CDC guidelines, as well as any updates to our policies and procedures that were taking place. And finally, another thing that was done was a sanitation job aid was created and distributed to all employees, which included information on how to stop the spread of COVID-19. And this document included information such as the proper way to wash their hands, proper cough etiquette, and how to properly sanitize the tools that they were using on a daily basis. So before I continue my presentation, I want to stop and ask Stephanie if there's anything that she would like to share at this time.
Thanks, Angela. So we experienced, obviously, just like the whole rest of the world did, quite a bit of changes within the first couple of weeks of March. Normally, when we would go into a patient's house, we're focused pretty exclusively on that patient. And all of a sudden, we kind of had to switch gears, and now we're protecting not only the patient but also the patient's family from us potentially as well. So we also, our stream of PPE was established very early, as well as protocols for what PPE would be applied to what calls. And at this point, still the dramatic increase in, like you said, gowns and goggles and masks and changing gloves, and not only that, but also the number of members that we would send into homes for EMS calls and gas leaks and CO alarms and everything. But we experienced very similar shift in mentality to what seems like the Nicor employees did. Yeah.
Thank you, Stephanie. What I want to take a little bit of time to talk about right now is critical risk management, otherwise known as CRM. Just a little bit about CRM. It is the process by which we at Nicor identify the areas of our work that may cause our employees a disabling injury or even worse, a fatality. One of the things that we immediately realize is that despite COVID-19, that risks do not go away. Therefore, our employees were having to balance not only their own safety, but the safety of our customers. And while doing all of this, they had to make sure that they were eliminating critical risk. Again, since we are a 24/7 operation, we are still required to provide reliable service to our customers, such as responding to all leak investigation calls within 1 hour. So continuing to focus on critical risk management in the midst of this pandemic definitely is not something that we take lightly. Stephanie, did you have anything that you wanted to share at this time?
I was hoping that you'd pop me in there. No, the risks don't go away, and we like I said, we experienced a lot of the same thing. Obviously, people don't call us for no reason, and COVID-19 kind of added just a whole new layer. We still need to be observant. We still need to be focused on mitigating what the emergency is, but now at the same time, we're kind of two-way protecting our employees, obviously, and as well as our what amounts to our customers, the people that we're here to help. So
thank you. So I know that was kind of a brief overview, but I would be remiss if I didn't talk a little bit about what you can do to stop the spread of COVID-19. So I'm sure many of these bullet points you have already heard about by now, but hopefully you will glean a nugget or two from this portion of our presentation. So one of the most important things that we encourage our employees to do is to every single day before they come to work is to take a self-assessment and ask themselves some question. Do I feel well today? Do I have a fever? Have I been around someone who is sick, or am I sick? So of course, if the answer to any one of these questions is yes, we encourage our employees and yourself to stay home. I know many of us want to put forth our best effort and make sure that we go to work, but definitely in these times, we want to do everything that we can to protect not only ourselves, our loved ones, and our coworkers. So by staying home, we will definitely help by stopping the spread of COVID-19. Another thing that you can do is to wash your hands not only thoroughly, but also often. So soap and water for 20 seconds. 20 seconds is about the amount of time that it takes to sing your ABCs or even happy birthday. If you are using to use hand sanitizer because soap and water is not available to you, you want to make sure that you are using alcohol with, you want to make sure that you are using a hand sanitizer with a minimum amount of 60% alcohol in it. And of course, when you cough or sneeze, you want to make sure that you cover your mouth with your hands, or even more importantly, if you could remember, sneezing or coughing into your elbow, so then particles are not released onto your hands. Also, you want to make sure that you protect yourself at all times. We want to make sure that everyone is practicing social distancing with a minimum of 6 feet or even more if you are able. So if you don't know what this looks like, it's a good idea to practice this with your family at home, just so that you can get a gauge of what that 6 feet looks like. It sounds like a lot, but it's really not that far. Complete on-the-job self-screening. Have your reports, the people who report directly to you, complete a screening when they arrive each morning, and then report that information to you. Also, you want to make sure that you stay informed and connected. You can do that by looking at the Southern Company coronavirus website. Here at Nicor Gas, we do that. We also utilize our field safety specialists, but the way that you can do that is by constantly checking with the CDC to see what the latest guidelines are. We want to make sure that you practice inclusive leadership. What that means is by effectively utilize virtual meeting applications. And then finally, we want to make sure that you protect your mental health. Take extra care to eat properly and exercise. By doing this, you will boost your immune system. We want to make sure that you take frequent breaks to decompress. There's lots of things that are constantly going on around us. As I had mentioned earlier, we all have to make sure that we focus not only on our own safety, but the safety of others. So we want to make sure that we are taking breaks to decompress all this information that we're constantly taking in so that we don't become overwhelmed. Use trusted media sources to stay informed. That's very important. And finally, we want to make sure that you avoid overexposure to social media and news outlets, which might not be giving you reliable information. So with that, before I close, I want to turn it over to Stephanie one more time to see if she has any final words that she would like to share.
Angela, I'm glad that you mentioned the mental health. Apart from COVID-19 calls for service, mental health is probably one of the biggest calls that we, the fire departments are experiencing right now. The isolation of quarantining, and even just the isolation of staying 6 feet away from people, not being able to hug your friends, not being able to be in close contact like we're used to as a culture, that is definitely affecting people. So take care of yourself for sure. I'm glad you mentioned that.
Thank you. So that ends my portion of our presentation. At this time, I'm going to turn it back over to Tara.
Actually, Angela, it's Karen. Sorry about that, and sorry about my dogs there for a minute, you guys. But I just wanted to say that the mental health aspect that Stephanie was talking about is very important to our company, to our employees, and our customers. And I know that, the fire department and Nicor Gas, we both serve the same customer base in the Illinois territory, within our territory. And, we have done a lot about communicating out to our employees, about mental health. And I'm sure that the fire department, like Stephanie said, has gotten quite a few calls, but I'm sure you guys are probably communicating out to the East Joliet community as well about these topics.
We are, yeah. Not so much by way of like a mass media type of thing.
Sure.
But definitely every time, when we see people, it's generally their worst day. It's generally they're not going through something that anybody wants to experience. It's generally at the point that we come into contact with them, it's generally a crisis. But we as a paramedic community, as a firefighting community, we have definitely been doing our best to kind of keep people on earth and keep people together, if not physically, but mentally. But yeah, that is definitely a huge aspect that I don't know that anybody necessarily could have foreseen about the whole COVID-19 situation.
That's a good point. It is one of those aftershocks that, you don't necessarily think about up front, but that you do have to address. And yeah, it's been an unfortunate increase in mental health issues all across the nation for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
The other thing we wanted to do now is to open this up for any questions or conversation. We have a nice little group of people here. And I noticed there were some comments on the chat box as I was presenting, but is there anything that anybody here would like to ask us? Because we're here to listen and answer questions if need be.
And please type any questions in the chat box so they can be answered. Thank you.
Let us know if you see anything in there. Let me see if I can show the conversation here. Actually, I don't really see any questions. There was just one comment, and that was pretty much it. So with that, I guess we can close up the session unless there's any other conversation that anybody wants to have or any questions that we can answer. Okay, I would just like to thank again Energy Efficiency and Energy Assistance for setting this up and giving us this platform to talk about these important issues during the pandemic. And Nicor Gas is here for you. If you ever need anything, it's 1-800-NICOR for you. Give us a call and we will try to meet your needs. Thank you.
Thank you.